And welcome back to the Metal Mixtape here on KSKQ 89.5 FM Ashland, Oregon, 94.1 FM Oregon, and stream online on KSKQ.org. And now is the time. It is the time that we will be interviewing John from Incantation. John, how's it going tonight, brother?
It's going great. How are you doing?
Dude,
how's everybody doing, I guess?
Dude, we are doing awesome. It's 9:30 p.m. here on the West Coast. We already played some older Incantation, and we're going to play some new stuff off your album, dude.
Awesome.
You have a lot of fans here in Southern Oregon, and we're just happy to talk to you, man.
Oh, yeah, that's killer, dude. Yeah, we always have a great time in Oregon. We always have a blast there, so definitely awesome. Awesome to be on the radio with you. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, man. So, my friend Joel here, he's a huge Incantation fan, and he's going to be leading the interview for me. One thing we like doing on this show is we all like to take turns doing interviews, and Mr. Joel here is going to take the reins. So here's Joel Sublette.
Okay, awesome.
This chair sucks. I'm switching with you. All right, so Mr. John from Incantation, this is Mcentee. How's it going?
It's going great.
Right.
How's it going for you? Sounds good.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good out here. Nice day and lots of fun stuff for the interviews and lots of good bands. Already played some Incantation. I'm gonna go ahead and gush here for just a second, but I've been listening to you guys for like literally probably 22 years.
Killer. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I've been, I remember back in the day when, like, downloading was a thing, and my brother-in-law would download random death metal for me, and the first thing I got from you guys was, it was a couple songs from Diabolical Conquest, and then I bought, the first one I bought, which I brought with me and played earlier, was Infernal Storm, and man, Infernal Storm, and maybe it's nostalgia talking, but that album is literally one of my favorite death metal albums of all time, so pretty stoked to talk to you, man.
Thanks. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, there's a lot of people that really dig that album a lot. So, hell yeah, that's awesome to hear.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I played Sempiternal Pandemonium, which is legit my favorite Incantation song. So good, so heavy. So,
yeah,
so
actually, we were thinking about popping that one in the set, actually, sometime.
Oh, dude, you
haven't
totally
put that one live for a while.
I would love to see that, like, live on a video. Oh, my God, that'd be so cool. Yeah,
anyway,
that's a favorite.
Go ahead. What's up?
So that leads to the first obvious question, which we always ask every band, and I'm sure you get asked all the time. Who are your influences? You know, how did you start playing? You play guitar in this band, and you didn't used to do vocals, but you do now. How did that come to be, and what are your influences?
Well, I mean, it came to be after Mcentee, as the vocalist that played on Infernal Storm. He went on to do a Blasphemy album, but he was actually a session vocalist for that. He ended up quitting the band kind of before we recorded the Blasphemy album. And I knew that I definitely was not ready to do vocals in, like, you know, whatever, it was like a couple of months or whatever. So we asked Mike, and Mike left on good terms, so it wasn't like a big deal to have him come back and do vocals on the album, but we needed basically like some time of our own just to, just for me to practice. I mean, it took me about a year of like, intensely growling in my basement, trying to learn how to get all the tones that I need to get to sound good and just learn how to play guitar and do vocals. It was a real pain in the ass, but
oh man, I know.
I was determined to do it because I just was getting really annoyed with the fact that, by that time on the album, I think there were three different vocalists. I mean, they were all great, but it was like, I just didn't really want to keep switching vocalists. It's a pain in the ass,
Right.
And plus, it was obvious that I really should have done it because I also just, would want to find a vocalist, then we kind of tell them how we want everything done. And it's like, no vocalist should have to join, our band and then not have as much freedom as they say they might want to have to do vocals that we're going to, like, kind of walk them through. So it was the obvious choice for me to just do it because, at least with me, it's like I can bitch at myself if I'm not doing it good or, know what I want, and I listen to, Kyle or whatever tells me, you should do something a little different. Like people they have a good working relationship, and the fact of just, I know what we want vocally, so it's just easy for me just to do it. But it was also a real pain in the ass, because learning how to, do vocals and guitar, like I said, is not the easiest thing to do necessarily. Yeah. Some people are gifted and it comes easy. For me, it took a lot of hard work.
Yeah, as somebody that does the exact same thing, I play guitar and vocals in my own band, Antariok, and even though we play slower, almost doomier metal at times, it's hard, man. I had never realized how hard it was to belt out vocals and keep a rhythm at the same time until I had to do it. But it goes to...
of course.
Yeah, but it goes with that saying, man, you want something done right, you do it yourself.
Yeah, that's kind of the attitude we ended up having with it, But yeah, it was really difficult, because when I first started doing vocals, I wanted to just follow my guitar riffs, because I was used to humming the riffs in my head that I'm playing all the time, and all of a sudden I had to do vocals instead of hum the riffs, so it'd be a real pain in the ass trying to break that, I'd be doing vocals, and I'd be trying to play the vocal line on guitar, but without even realizing it. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. It's and I'm still not good at it. But it's one of those things that, you keep practicing and you get better, and man, you do an awesome job, because, of course I watch videos of you guys. You guys are one of my favorite death metal bands, and there's one video that I watch all the time on YouTube. Like, I can't remember what it's called, but it's just like 2 songs, and it's live, and it's like the first thing that comes up if you search Incantation Live, and it's just like, you guys are so powerful. What's crazy is Josh here at the studio, the third co-host here, or I should say second co-host, but the third guy. he was at my house, and I was listening to you guys, exactly that show, and he was like, dude, these guys are killing it, and he is not a death metal fan. So it's like, that really says something. Yeah, you guys are just absolutely like killers of the genre. Did you have any like specific influences when you were younger that led you to wanting to play guitar?
Yeah, I had normal kind of heavy metal influences. Real big Black Sabbath fan growing up, and it's like all the basics, like Richie Blackmore and stuff like that on guitar, and just some of the 80s guitar players, like, I don't know, Randy Rhoads or Ingrid Malmsteen kind of stuff I grew up with, but then I just, wanted to keep getting heavier, so that people like, say, Mike Terrell from The Death, and, guys from Merciful Fate and all that kind of stuff, kind of all were kind of, a mixture of stuff that I was influenced by, and, basically, I really just wanted to be a songwriter and a guitar player. I never really even wanted to be a lead guitar player, and I never really wanted to be a vocalist, but, I ended up doing both at different times in the band just because I had to,
Yeah. Well, you do a damn good job at it, so there's that. I gotta ask you, this is partially for me, partially for my girlfriend, who is actually also a huge Incantation fan. She actually just bought Incantation.
Pretty cool, then.
Yeah, she follows you on Instagram too. But anyways, are you into doom at all, like doom metal? Because man, some of your shit gets so heavy.
Yeah, I'm into doom. I don't know a lot about, say, the current kind of doom and stoner and stuff, but as far as like the old school stuff, I'm a big Candlemass fan. Yeah, like especially the older Trouble stuff, was a really big influence. And I like some of the Death Doom stuff, like early stuff, like the early Paradise Lost and early My Dying Bride. And actually some of the later Paradise Lost stuff now is kind of back to like kind of being heavy again, which is cool. But there's also some more obscure bands, like a band called Dorgasan, which was kind of really inspirational. Also,
yeah, I totally remember that.
Killer.
Dorgasan, yeah, totally.
Yeah, and then also, what was it? The Disembowelment was a one that was on Relapse that really kicked ass.
That's really funny.
Winter.
Actually, my girlfriend's going to be stoked about that. Disembowelment's also one of her favorite bands. And have you ever heard have you ever heard Noose Crush before?
Yeah.
Dude, Noose Crush is the shit. Those guys are so dirty and so heavy. And I ask about that because of how, like, occasionally your songs just go to this deep, dark, cavernous, crawling, somebody screaming in a cave from 5 miles back realm that is just, like, absolutely crushing and, like, mind-warping. It's so badass to get that, like, heavy tone and the, like, your drummer, well, I should say drummers, have always been excellent with the, like, mid-pace double kicks, which so many drummers have trouble with. Man, that shit just blows me. That stuff, yeah, dude, that stuff is awesome, and you guys are, like, top of your game when it comes to that, so definitely kudos there.
Thanks. Yeah, we like that. We like, part of death metal is just having that agonizing sound to it, just, it's like, to me, I don't know, just having that doom aspect has always just been a natural part of expressing, myself with death metal. Just, I don't know, it seems normal and natural to me. I don't really, I know a lot of people look at that as, something I really identify as being original, but it's kind of crazy because for me, it's just 100% normal to have that kind of stuff, I love that stuff. And that heavy, that crushing heaviness, I mean, to me, that's just part of the, agony and pissed off and everything that, you want to vent out. And definitely, I mean, it's great to have, fast stuff, but you want to, you need that slow stuff to really, get that light and shade with the aggression and the agonizing. I mean, it just works. I don't know, for us, it's just the right thing to do,
I completely agree. My band, while we don't sound similar at all, my band does the same thing. We'll play fast, we'll play slow, we'll play mid-paced, and it just comes naturally. It just seems like bands that play only fast or bands that only play slow are limiting themselves a little bit, in my opinion. And some bands can totally pull that off, but, when you can get everything in one of my favorite bands, I don't know if you're familiar with them from France, but Archon and Faustus, they played Black
No, I haven't heard that, no.
Oh, man, you got to listen to Archon and Faustus. If I could share something with you sometime, I will, maybe through Omar, but Archon and Faustus is like, they are so heavy, so dirty, so dark that it's just like unbelievable that nobody's ever played stuff like that before. And kind of same with Incantation. Nobody really sounds like you guys. There are definitely imitators, but nobody sounds like you guys. Which actually leads me to another question, kind of, sort of. So my other favorite band in the world who nobody really sounds like, death metal-wise, I should say, is The Chasm. And you guys, you worked with Daniel Corchado on the Diabolical Conquest album. How was that? How did you like working with him?
Well, I mean, first of all, we had a blast at that time. We just got along really good, and it was a really fun vibe in the band and stuff, working with them. And, it was really awesome. I mean, we had a lot of the songs were already written for Diabolical before he kind of got in the band, but he did add, like, a cool added vibe. Like, he kind of came in and just, had these ideas, and we were totally open to them, and it just seemed to fit really good. He has a very obscure way of writing and way of looking at things, so it was, it was a lot of fun. I mean, we definitely, if it was up to us, we definitely would have been working with him in the band for longer than what we did, but, he really, his thing's really The Chasm, and, he really wanted to focus on that more. But, we had a great time. I think he did an amazing job on Diabolical Conquest. But I thought that when we did that album, we really knew we were just really playing from the heart and pushing our limits on stuff. And it was kind of like a FU to the world, that album, because we just, we wanted to just do something that we totally believed in and didn't give a crap if anybody was going to like it or not. I mean, people ended up liking it, and it did really well for us, but we really had a, piss-off kind of attitude on doing it, which I think a lot of times is really the best attitude to have in music, because when you just play stuff from the heart and you don't give a crap about any of the popularity or any other BS stuff, then usually the best music comes out, you know?
Agreed, yeah. And if I remember correctly, the last song on that album is one that's like way longer than a normal Incantation song, right?
Oh, yeah, it was, what was it? That was,
I don't remember the name, but yeah.
Yeah, fuck. Oh, sorry. I can't remember the name, too. It was, holy crap, I can't remember, too.
I can't either. It's driving me crazy a little bit, but,
well, just because I'm on the spot, I can't remember, you know? Like,
right.
As soon as I get off that phone and interview, I'll remember. But anyway, yeah, the one was our first real attempt on doing a kind of a longer song, and it was just one of those songs we had. We kept working on it. It just kept, like, getting longer and longer, and we just said, screw it, you know? We're just going to keep going with it until it seems like it's over with, you know? And it ended up being like 16 minutes, but I think it's a really cool song, and just the overall vibe is, you know, just great. It kind of, for us, it was, you know, expanding our sound a little bit, and just, you know, we kind of had our first like full doom song on Mortal Throne with Abolishing of Immaculate Serenity.
Oh, right.
So we kind of wanted to do something not exactly the same, but, you know, kind of expand a little bit on the doomy atmospheric kind of vibe, and I think it was it was a good song. We don't get to play it out too much because it's really tough to fit a 18-minute song into a set, but it was a fun one to play when we do play it. We played it a few times here and there.
Nice.
You know, a couple times just to kind of be idiots, we played that and played 2 short songs or something and ended the set or something, you know.
That's actually pretty awesome. I would totally be into that because I love that song. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, so that kind of leads to another one of my major questions. This is like a multifaceted question. So give me a second here. Okay, so how does a record label like Relapse Records deal with that? Because they seem like a pretty open-minded company. And on top of that question, you guys, if I remember correctly, Incantation, one of their demos or one of their splits was literally the first Relapse record ever to come out, right?
Well, yeah. Well, I think our 7-inch was probably album number 3 or something. If I remember, or number 2. I think it was number 2. I think the first one they put out was the Suffocation 7-inch, and then they put out our Entrapment of Evil 7.
Right, Human Waste was number 1. But there was a 4-way split or something like that, I feel like with you. Yeah. That's,
that 4-way split is kind of it's a single series CD.
Yeah.
It has 4 different bands on 7 inches on one CD. Yeah. Each one of those bands were the 7 inches that they released early on, kind of thing. It was kind of a reissue of them. Yeah, it was cool. But our relationship with Relapse, especially at that time, was really strong. It was really a really productive relationship. And our relationship now is great with them. We just had problems with them kind of later on down the line, but it was more just out of us being a new band dealing with the music business, and them being a new label dealing with the music business.
Right.
Things, you kind of make stupid decisions, and you realize later that, you can kind of, work things out a lot better once you have the experience,
Well, it's interesting that you guys have stuck with Relapse for so long. I mean, it's kind of admirable, and it's odd too, because Relapse is not exactly, especially these days, known for death metal. They play a lot of post-hardcore and weird, dreary stuff and some atmospheric stuff and just all over the place. But they used to do that death metal, and then they just kind of don't much anymore. But you guys have always been consistently there, and it's one of the reasons that I still love Relapse is the fact that you guys are still on there. I mean, that's really cool.
Well, they had a few death metal bands, but definitely not as much as the caliber that they had early on. I mean, early on they were really strong.
Oh yeah,
in the death metal world. But yeah, they kind of moved towards a lot of different styles and stuff like that. And it wasn't really my cup of tea necessarily, but they do stay true to what they want to do. And I mean, I can't complain at all. I mean, for us, they're doing a phenomenal job. So I'm nothing but happy with working with them. I mean,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really cool. I mean,
super killer.
That's really cool. Because, I mean, I'm sure you hear and probably follow the underground. There's a couple labels, especially recently, that have popped up that have really been found to not treat their roster as well as they should and not promote things as well as they should.
Yes.
But I'm really happy to hear the reason still treating you right.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of problems with other record companies and people's relationship with those bands, and you really need to try to have a productive relationship with the label, but both sides also have to be able to understand and have the respect, and they have to just be able to believe in each other. Like, we just know that Relapse knows what they're doing, and we let them do their job. They let us do our job as far as, writing music and, getting, presenting it the way we want to and everything. Both sides let each other do what we need to do to be as effective as possible on, as a band, and we let them do their thing as a label, and everyone's happy,
Yeah.
Basically, we don't tell them how to run their label. We don't tell us how to run our band.
That's amazing. That's really good. That's the relationship you definitely want to have. Okay, so let's get into some funner questions. Maybe not so serious questions. Do you have a favorite death metal album of all time? Like, if somebody came up to you and you're with a gun, they're like, "Hey, what's your favorite album? Tell me now, or you're gonna die." Like, what do you spit out? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
The first thing that comes to mind has to be Possessed Seven Churches, just because it was my first introduction to, the term death metal, and even just like the sound, the early stages of death metal. So it's always going to have a special place in my heart, it's because hearing that, I just knew something different, something special was, happening or whatever,
Right, because that's a really, that's like, what, 86 or something like that?
85, 86. I don't remember exactly. So long ago I can't remember for sure, but I know it was basically like the first thing I heard. I mean, I've heard other stuff like Venom and Merciful Fate and whatever, but once I heard Possessed, I kind of knew like the tide was changing a little bit. There was a new darkness in the air.
Yeah, totally. I'm an older guy too, but a little younger than you. Not older guy, but you know what I mean. I'm an experienced metalhead as well. I'm 41, and my first ones were like Death and Cannibal Corpse. There was this guy that sat behind me in high school, and he passed me a Butcher to Birth tape when I was like 16, and so I took it home and I listened to it in the dark at like midnight with headphones on, and was like, "What the hell is this?" I've been addicted to death metal ever since. Okay, so
but that's the great moments when you first hear death metal for the first time. You're what the hell? But it's something that you're interested in, but you also don't 100% get it.
Right. You get the tingles, and you're like, "Whoa, I need to hear this again." I remember the other one that gave me that feeling was Obituary's "Slowly We Rot." I heard that Obituary first on cassette and was like,
that's a great album. Yeah,
dude, that's my favorite Obituary still. And it blew me away. It was so good. So, do you have a favorite album of yours that you've worked on? I mean, I'm sure the standard answer is going to be always like, "Oh, the one we're working on right now." But like, if you really had to choose an album, you know what I mean? You got to sound good for your current bandmates and stuff. But really, if you had to choose an album besides like current generation, like your older stuff, or maybe I don't know, like what's your favorite album and one of your favorite albums to work on?
Well, it's really tough because I look at the albums differently than other people do, So I don't know. I mean, I guess the first album I went to About was always special because it was the first album.
Yeah.
We didn't know what the hell we were doing in the studio recording it, but it just the first time doing the album, and the fact that it did well, of course it's an extremely important time in my life and holds a special place. But it is an impossible question because you're you know, each album holds such important, you know, parts of my history that, you know, each one is super important in different ways. But, you know, you know, the Onward to Golgotha was special because it was our first, and the band was firing on all cylinders. Everybody was really hungry, and you know, to work with the guys I work with on that album, it was just you know, inspiring situation to be in. You know, everyone really pushed each other to be as, you know, aggressive and dark and brutal as possible. It was really fun.
And I mean, that's really cool. That's really cool because, that's not really an answer I expect as the first album, but that's awesome. And what's really cool is that album really, as a fan, and like I know other people that love Incantation, like that album still holds the fuck up. Like that is an amazing album. It's heavy, it's dark, it's dirty. I mean, it's exactly what I like in death metal, and kudos for that. So
it's great. It's great that people still really enjoy it and hold it up in high regards, you know. I mean, in general, we're really fortunate as a band because we've had so many fans for so many generations, and you know, just people really like, you know, different albums that they might have, you know, usually it's like the album that somebody first hears a song usually ends up being their favorite, but it's just really cool that, you know, to think that, you know, an album that we did almost 30 years ago now is still held up as, you know, an important landmark album in the death metal world. I mean, that's something to be proud of, you know? It's something we didn't expect, for sure, you know?
Yeah, you should definitely be proud of that because that is definitely an amazing album. It still holds up all this time later, and I'm sure there are plenty of people out there that have heard Incantation for the first time by listening to Onward to Golgotha. Okay, so I think we've gotten through most of the questions now. We've got our favorite question always to ask every single band, and I know that you've got some because you've been doing it so damn long. Do you have a really funny story on playing like live, or like maybe a member of yours doing something live, or maybe a crazy audience member? I mean, we've heard everything from, my favorite is somehow a dude, was he drunk? And he like fell through a window with his amp through the front of like a bar, like into the sidewalk, like and then they interviewed Mayhem and they threw pig heads and hit somebody in the head, and I mean, there's like crazy stuff. Do you have a funny, amazing, chaotic story for us?
It's crazy because, I mean, a lot of crazy things happen, but it's tough putting me on the spot like this. I mean, I don't know. One I just kind of thought was funny. It's nothing too crazy, but it was definitely kind of funny. We were playing this club in Denver, Colorado, and they basically were playing the song Ibex Moon. And it was a time when I was doing vocals and playing guitar, and I guess I wasn't paying attention. And during the first slow part, I put my foot up, and I basically fell off the stage, and my guitar went bong, hit the ground, made a huge sound. And everyone's looking at me like, "What the hell happened to you?" And pretty much fumbled the ball pretty hardcore at that. So that was kind of funny. But there's a lot of really crazy things that happen live. It's so spontaneous. Sometimes just have to deal with it. I mean, we had this one guy at a Brutal Assault Fest. Brutal Assault was Obscene Extreme, a really big fan of ours, and you actually could see the video on YouTube. He got, it's a terrible story. He got 3 of his limbs cut off because he fell asleep drunk on a train track, and but he was at the show, and he was watching us from his wheelchair outside stage. As soon as he started playing Ibex Moon, he jumped on stage and was rolling around on stage and kind of getting right up on me and have his one arm and was kind of all into it. And it was just it was so fucking cool because I wasn't expecting this guy who didn't have 3 of his limbs, and he was in a wheelchair. I didn't expect him to jump out and just totally just get into it and basically just jump on stage and went, wild. And I was like, that's cool.
Wow, that's
you
an
know,
intense story, man. That's crazy. Don't hang out in
you
your
can actually see it online.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, well, we're going to wrap up the interview here. It was really great talking to you, man. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, we're going to play a new song. We're going to play something Hag Queen. Where's it at? Entrail of the Hag Queen. Yes, we're going to play that next. And real quickly here, how do people get a hold of you? How can they see your stuff? What's your social media? Go ahead and rattle that off real quick so we can all find you.
Okay, well, our easiest is incantation.com as our website. We have a web store and stuff like that, but also just regular social media stuff. We have, Instagram. I think it's Incantation Official. Incantation Official on Facebook and Twitter and all that fun stuff. Basically just look for us there. I also have individual accounts for usually either under my name, John Mcentee, or under Isaac Moon is usually me. So just find us on there and like our pages and you'll get information when stuff happens. Hopefully once this pandemic's done, we'll be getting some killer touring, We're really looking forward to getting out there and bringing some really killer bands on the road with us.
Yeah, well, hell yeah, dude. I'm really stoked that we got to talk, man. I'm very happy about that.
Thank you very much. It's been a blast.
Yeah, it's been really cool. I follow you on social media, and it's really cool to see your stuff and, your shirts and, your awesome merch. And, yeah, you just got a cool page, and your music is inspiring for how fucking heavy it is. I love Incantation.
Well,
I will always love Incantation. Thank you so much. Can you say for us, this has been the Metal Mixtape, and thank you for, what is it?
No, okay.
Okay,
John,
Omar's going to say it.
All right. So, John, before we let you go, can you say, this is John from Incantation, and you're listening to the Metal Mixtape?
Yeah, okay, cool. Just do it now?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Okay, this is John from Incantation. You're listening to the Metal Mixtape.
Yeah. All right, John. We can't wait to play your new album. And you have a good night, brother. Thank you so much.
Man. Thank you. Thanks a lot, John.
Take care. Thank you very much. Next time we're out that way, come up, say what's up, okay?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, no problem.
We can't wait. All right,
do it. Okay, well, take care, brothers. Thank you. Bye-bye.